Hello everybody, this is Ryan over at High Carb Regenerator. Welcome back to my channel. Somebody said something to me in a comment yesterday, and these comments drive me nuts, right? Sugar is going to, I should have brought this comment up, but I don't like to throw people under the bus. Sugar is acidic. It's going to cause fungus. It's going to cause, I don't know, the world to collapse. You know, like the universe is going to just spin out of control. Something's going to blow up. You know, taxes are going to go up, whatever, because you had a little bit of sugar. So I wanted to watch this video. I may have watched this video, but I haven't watched it in a while. So, and then we're going to add a little bit of that, as you can see up here in the tabs.
People say that sugar, carbohydrates is sugar. So what is it? A carbohydrate is a sugar.
That's the part that gets me. Most sugar is actually raw or close to raw, right? And this person told me that the reason, and I'm actually losing weight finally. It's finally coming off. I don't weigh myself. I don't like to get that number in my head, but I know just based on, can't even keep my clothes on half the time anymore. They just keep falling off. That the weight is finally coming off in a good pace here, right? And people come on here and say, well, you know, it's because you weren't raw. And I thought that for a couple minutes, you know, I thought that for a while, and it just doesn't make any sense. You see the Asian people, you see the African people, you see, you know, like all these countries that by and large eat high carbohydrate. And yeah, you know, somebody's going to come on here and say, well, they eat 3 ounces of meat a week, and that's what it is. That's why they lose the weight. And it's like, oh my gosh. So anyway, woman comes on and she says, well, the reason that you stopped losing weight is because you stopped eating raw. Okay. And then she goes on to say that it's because you have sugar. Now, these are the same people that are going to tell you to go on a juice fast, eat a watermelon, whatever the hell it is. What does it break down in your body to? And everybody's like, well, it's got fiber and it does, you know, fine, right? But a juice does have soluble fiber, and there's probably soluble fiber in sugar if you're going to go to that level, because it's just grass that's dehydrated basically, or, you know, and just blown to pieces basically and turned into granules. That's all it is. It's grass. It's grass. It might be white, but it's grass, right? And you know, it just baffles the mind how they say it can be acidic. And, you know, like if you eat it in the watermelon form, it's not acidic. But if you eat it in the form that your body breaks it down into, all of a sudden it's acidic. Your body breaks all of this stuff down: potatoes, rice, corn, watermelon, bananas, into sugar. That's what it does. It's a juicer. Your body is literally a juicer.
Sugar. That sugar's a stimulant, and you're on drugs when you're on sugar. Well, the brain runs on sugar. The brain doesn't run on caffeine or Ritalin or Adderall or cocaine or whatever the other central nervous stimulants things are. You know, these are drugs. Sugar is a nutrient, it's not a drug. So when you have your rice and your fruit and your refined sugar, your glucose, they're essentially glucose and fructose.
What is this? It's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy.
When you have rice, a bag of rice is a bag of glucose. A bag of fruit hanging off a tree is a bag of glucose and fructose. Refined sugar is glucose and fructose. All right? Maple syrup, glucose and fructose. Agave syrup, glucose and fructose. High fructose corn syrup, glucose and fructose. Organic tree ripened magical mangoes, glucose and fructose. That's what it is. The nutrients, you know, it's a nutrient. It's a calorie, you know. It's a caloronutrient, if you want to call it that. Drugs are fucking drugs.
Bro, it's driving me crazy.
And if you have them, understand them, that they're not really a health thing.
There's another one over here. I know I've got it bad. Like back when I was in school, any little thing out of place, and I would ponder it the rest of the day.
So when the Gregor fans out there smashing in that green tea to function, they're running on drugs. And as soon as you pull the stimulants out of that lifestyle, people, they're done. They're crashing. They're pepped up on stims all the time. Green tea, Ritalin.
A good way to see this is go to, I haven't been to one in a long time, but go to a coffee place. You can see it. Everybody's got the bags under their eyes. Everybody's got this artificial, they're like AI bots. It's like they got that artificial like energy. You know, I struggle to be around it. Like people who really drink a lot of coffee, I can't be around them. They just, I can't be around them. The energy that they give off. And then if they're on SSRIs, whew, forget it. They're artificial and they're not even human anymore.
Adderall, you know, coffee, all these things I've used myself, so I can speak with personal experience. It's not me just going, I read a book, I went to uni. This is real life experience. And when I see people introducing stimulants such as green tea, caffeine, Ritalin, Adderall, all these things back into their daily, or even...
I have real world experience with this. I know everybody's like, well, you hate coffee, and I do hate coffee, but I used to do something called an ECA stack. It was ephedra, caffeine, and aspirin. Anything I did for fucking weightlifting, man, it was like everything I did was stupid, but weightlifting was just my life, right? I don't know what's going on with this camera stand here. It didn't have enough caffeine, I guess. I used to do that stack, and when I came off it, oh my, I was ravenous. Like I'm like told everybody, don't be near me when I'm off this stuff because I was crazy.
Weekly routine, I see people's mental state going down. The cat's back. You know, I see people just declining. You know, would you give Ritalin to a baby? Would you give coffee to a baby? I wouldn't. Some people fucking would. Would you give Coke or Red Bull to a baby? I wouldn't. Wouldn't give it to a toddler either. Wouldn't even give it to a kid. People are doing that every day. I'll give them bread, I'll give them fruit, I'll give them sugars, give them breast milk. What's breast milk? Sugar in there. You know what I mean? Fats and proteins. Sugar is a nutrient. Carbohydrate is a nutrient. So whenever someone's sugar's a drug, it's a white poison. Sugar is just dehydrated vegetable juice. You know what I mean? This is like, it looks like sugar cane. It's just a sweet version of grass. That's what sugar is. Sugar is grass nectar. Imagine they started calling it grass nectar. But I can have nectar. I can have coconut nectar. Fucking sugar, same thing. Oh, it's got nutrients in it though. Nanograms of nutrients. The nutrients comes from your fresh fruits and vegetables, man. And your rice and your refined sugar and your tinned beans can give you some calories and fiber. But the fresh food, that's where the nutrition is, the nutrients. Cat, stop eating plastic. So yeah, this is just the deal here. This is what we're living in. We live in this crazy world where we got to understand the mechanics of something, understand how insulin works, understand how leptin and ghrelin work, understand insulin resistance, understand leptin resistance, understand how your hormones work.
My hormones, I can't even tell you, are off the charts. Matter of fact, it reminds me. This morning I was supposed to go to an endocrinologist. It was at 10:30, which is early for me. I can't, it's not my thing. And I got up and I said to the woman I live with, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that was happening. She's like, what? I said, I got to get all the way like over to, Beechwood in the next half hour. And she's like, good luck. And you can do it, right? And I'm like, and then I went on that because they text you about the appointments. I went on there and I hit the R on one of them to do rescheduling, right? And then somehow or other it signed me in like I was there at the building already. So they start calling me, looking for me, and I'm like, I didn't answer because I didn't even know what to say to them. And then I called back a little while later. I'm like, yeah, I was at the house. I don't know why you checked me in. And so, I didn't check. I have no interest in going, honestly. All my numbers actually went up in a way so, as soon as I started adding the sugar in. And all the hormones, I can tell the libido is through the roof. My weight loss has started back up again. I've got the results. It's not like I need to go in to have them read the results to me, which is usually what it ends up being. They put you in a box with the door shut, and then you wait, ungodly amounts of time, and then they come in and they literally just read off the results that you already have, and then they're like, yep, And then they leave, and then they send some assistant in there with a computer, and then they ask you more questions about that you don't feel like answering. So it turned into what it did. And then I called back, and they're like, "Oh, you want to reschedule?" I'm like, whatever. And they're like, "The next appointment is in January." I said, "January?" I said, "I might not even be here in January. How January?" So I didn't reschedule, and that's my story.
You understand what your brain runs on and how serotonin and all that stuff works. Understand the mechanics of stuff. You don't need to go to university for that. You don't need to pay some doctor $500 or a zillion, whatever. This is basic human physiology. Anyone can understand it.
Anyway, the point of the story is, as soon as I started adding this stuff in, because it just was not enough in the raw foods. Now, yeah, I did lose weight on raw. Now, I will give you this. Pyridine. I'm not a huge fan of taking all this stuff. Pyridine. I think you can read that. The day I started raw, I also started something called Pyridine Cleanse. And the day I started eating the rice is the day I ran out of the Pyridine Cleanse. So I've been wondering, and I probably should just buy some. What is it, Wednesday? I probably could get it here by the weekend. I want to try another 30 days eating cooked food. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not losing weight, because it is coming off. But I'm wondering if that 25 pounds that I lost in March was actually just stuff that was stuck in the intestinal tract. Could that be it? Might not have anything to do with the raw foods. I've been thinking about this. I hate to mention this stuff because people come on here with this ludicrous comments that make absolutely no sense, kind of like sugar is acidic. And I'm sure I'm going to make a clickbait kind of title, so hopefully you still made it.
If you can't explain the concepts to an 8-year-old kid, then it's too complicated. It's unsustainable advice. So anyway, I like to look at mechanics, and that's why you see all Durianrider's girlfriends, man, over the history of the last 10 years me on YouTube, they all end up super fucking hot, or they stay super fucking hot. None of them gets fat. No one gets fat following my advice. My advice, the real deal. We all get lean, we all get fitter. We all overcome eating issues or drug dependence, etc. That's just how it is, man. Because when you increase your carbohydrates, your interest in stimulants drops down. When you decrease carbohydrates, join these forums, man, and see how much fucking green tea and coffee and Ritalin people are popping every day. I don't do coffee, I do cacao. I don't do caffeine, I do Ritalin. I don't do Ritalin, I do Adderall. I don't do cocaine, I do methamphetamine, aka Adderall. It's all central nervous stimulant, man. They're all the same shit. Some are a bit stronger, some are a bit like packaged in organic labels. Green tea gives you a buzz. Cocaine gives you a buzz. A lot stronger, but it's just still the same triggers in the brain. It's just micro dosing. So that's just, and understand it. Do those things if you want to do. I'm not saying here to, punish people or whatever, but I want to explain to people what's actually sustainable. Cutting your carbohydrates out, cutting your fruit or your starch or your sugar, it's going to lead to some sort of eating issue or whatever, or stimulant dependence later on. You see it on the raw food people. When I was raw food as well, it's like you start smashing in the nuts.
100%. When I was doing the raw, oh gosh, hopefully I didn't just shout in your ear. When I was doing the raw, I was doing not a lot, but I was doing avocado, and then I started adding in flax and, what's the other one? Flax and chia seeds. I really did. And midway through, I had to, because I just was not getting enough food in, and it just ended up happening that way.
Well, you have some steamed rice and you feel all this guilt. Oh my God, I had steamed rice. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. No, actually, now you're fucking carb.
All right, but I do have to say this. The day that I added back in rice, I did get a headache, because it is a lot more dehydrating. So you've got to take that into account. Drink, I don't have one down here. Normally I do. But I actually drink an entire mason jar before I eat now. Especially if it's cooked. And another thing that I want to add to this, I don't know that I'm going to watch this whole video, but we'll see what happens. Another thing that I wanted to add to this, because man, we're 14 minutes in. Yeah, I might link this so I can move on. another thing I'll add to this for the third time now, hopefully I'll spit it out, is you really have to watch food combining. So I've told a lot of people in my comment section, potatoes and beans do not mix with me at all. Like I cannot mix those two at all. But rice and beans I can do. Potatoes and corn I can do. Potatoes and, cabbage or whatever I can do. But I'm not trying to do the 50-50 plate. So you really got to watch. You got to, like, this is why I've always said, keep one of these. I want to show people everything's on here. Keep one of these notebooks on hand because you want to keep a journal of what you're doing, especially if you're new to this. Like, for example, one of the combinations that everybody loves to do, but you're actually not supposed to do because it's very, very bad food combining, is bananas and strawberries. And everybody fights with me. And I'm not a huge fan of the quack Robert Morris, the guy. I have such a weird history with that dude. I don't even talk about it anymore. I think if you watch all of my videos, I do give backstory. The only thing that I got out of him is his food combining chart. And it says right on there, the only berry that you cannot mix with bananas, or like whatever category bananas is in, is strawberries. Anyway.
I'm not even going to do some work. Oh, I had sugar in my smoothie. Oh my God, I'm a sugar addict. No, now you got some energy, you're going to do some shit. Got some fuel to go and sleep properly, have better hormonal function. And that's another thing, when people introduce more stimulants, then their hormones start to go out of whack. Hormones start to go out of whack. Testosterone drops, estrogens drop. And you see it on Instagram all the time, man. You see it all the time. It's really, really sad. So I just recommend people be careful with the stims you use. Be careful with that. Respect them. Know when to use them, when not to use them. If you need more sleep, don't use any stimulants. If you're tired, don't use stims. If you're dehydrated, don't use stims. If you're hungry, don't use stims. If you use them for a race, okay. But understand that if it's hot weather, stimulants won't help you. Stimulants won't.
That reminds me, and I think I might cut it after this, because the reason I actually brought him in is because he's always talking about, sugar is pH neutral. So I'm going to get into that next. But one of the things I know I keep mentioning, or I've mentioned several times, is the Tokyo ended up being 2021, but it was supposed to be 2020 Olympics, is the people were talking about how they couldn't take the stimulants like they normally do because of how humid and hot it is in Japan. So that should tell you right away just how dehydrating and how bad this stuff can be for you. But people don't, put two and two together. So I'm going to probably link this. It's a good video, I'd imagine. I'm pretty sure I've watched this one. But anyway, so somebody said the pH or the pH of sugar or whatever is highly acidic. So I just wanted to get into that. The pH of sugar is 7. Keep that in mind. Nope. Let's pull this back up. If we look at the chart here, the pH of water is 7. There is 14 numbers on this scale here. 14. And the middle number is 7, which would mean what? That sugar is pH neutral. So somehow people are like, well, it's going to go acidic in your stomach. And of course, it is. It's going to do that. It is. Anything you consume, when it goes into your stomach, your body has to produce more acid, so the stomach is at the acidic level that it likes to be at. So this is the loophole, if you will, that people are trying to use to get around the fact that anything you eat is going to affect the pH level of your stomach. Then she's like, it's going to cause fungus. Okay. Sugar helps antibiotics trick and kill deadly bacteria. Do you think that it would cause fungus and whatever else she was saying is if sugar is used as an antibiotic? I don't know. I could be wrong. It goes on here to say that a spoonful of sugar actually helps medication, which I'm not even about. But so far, studies have have all. I got to look through the camera to try to read this here, but you can read it. It just basically goes on to say that sugar actually might be one of the best antibiotics on the planet, and it's a whole lot cheaper than medication, but it's going to cause fungus. The hidden healing power of sugar. I mean, just read some of this stuff. I'll link this down below. In Zimbabwe, they actually use sugar to pack wounds with because it helps it heal so much faster because it's antibiotic. But you got these people, I don't even know which one this one. Oh, here it is. Pouring granulated sugar on wounds can heal them faster than antibiotics. Is it because it's causing the fungus that grow in your cuts? Is that what it's? You put it on there and it causes some weird fungus, like mushrooms growing out of your cut here, and that's why it heals faster. That's why it heals faster. So before you come on here making these ridiculous claims, actually know what you're talking about. And I'm not saying that these people aren't well-meaning, right? I know people are well-meaning, but they don't actually look into stuff, and this drives me crazy. Now, I know that I've had like a little bit of a roller coaster since I started this channel. I tried to start Solution, and it really didn't do me any good. It didn't do me any good. I don't think there's enough sugar involved, to be quite honest with you, because there is not enough sugar. And he's like become sugar phobic, despite the fact that one of his mentors, if you're seeing this, this is a second clip. I'm going to have to patch it in. One of his mentors was actually so pro sugar that he based everything he did around it. So, if you're on a starch solution, if you're watching this, you're on a starch solution and you're really struggling to lose weight, I can see it. It was not coming off for me. Now, the 50-50 plate, a little bit came off, but I was hungry all the time. All the time. And I was eating so much food, it was ridiculous. I mean, so much non-starchy vegetables. It's unsustainable unless you're like well off. I mean, you just got so much money coming in, you don't even know what to do with it. You're like, I'm going to go buy some broccoli today. I'm going to buy an entire farm of broccoli. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just, there's no need for it. And your body can't really do anything with it. Yeah, there's some nutrients in there. But, I mean, other than that, come on. It's just, all right, so look at the animals who actually eat greens. How many hours of their day is dedicated to eating? Like 8 to 12 hours a day is dedicated to eating, because there's so little calories in this stuff that they spend their entire life eating. I mean, I guess if that is your thing, go for it. I know it takes on average about 20 pounds of non-starchy food to actually have enough calories to get you through the day. So if you want to be on that 20-pound plan, I guess go for it. But your digestion can't handle that. You're going to find out real quick after like the first, I don't know how many pounds, that your body actually is not built to digest this stuff. Look at the digestive system. It's so much different on animals that eat nothing but greens. It's completely different than ours. We are not built to eat that. We're literally just built to digest sugar, a little bit of protein, and a little bit of fat. Anyway, like I said before, comments, questions, down below. Like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.